Hi, everyone, and welcome to another Pop-Up PD. My name is John, and I'm really excited to be joined by Greg today. Hello, Greg. How are you?
Hey, John, how are you? I'm super excited to be here and explore some new interesting ideas for using Moat.
Yeah, so just as Greg says, we are going to be looking at some new and extremely interesting ideas, and they are all going to be based around the launch of a brand new feature to Moat that came out only last week, and that is Moat QR codes or Moat QR codes. The simple principle being is that you can create a voice note and then instantly you can generate a QR code that you can then do whatever you would like with, stick it on the wall, put it on some postcards, and anyone with a device could then scan that code and hear the voice note immediately. I'm going to share with you super quickly before I pass over to Greg, who's going to share some wonderful ideas in this pop-up PD. I'm going to show you just how quickly it is. Now, last time I asked Greg to time something. I think there's something wrong with your stopwatch, Greg, but the claim was I went marginally over time. But I reckon, and do this from a time that I actually start to record, I reckon that I can generate a QR code with a voice note in sub 10 seconds. Okay, but it has to be when I actually press start to record. None of this funny business, Greg. Okay. I know that we're both very aware of what a shot clock means, and this just needs to be precise. So the timer hasn't started yet. The timer hasn't started yet. This is a slide deck that I'm going to be coming to later, but all I'm going to be doing now is showing you the creation of a QR moat. So, Greg, are you ready with your finger on the buzzer?
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1, let's go. So, this is a voice note. I'm now going to tap on the share arrow, click on QR code, save that image, stop the clock.
Oh, that was definitely that might have been 8. If we go back to edit, that might be about 8 seconds.
There we go. There we go. I told you I could do it. I told you I could do it. So, yeah, the whole premise of this particular pop-up PD is that we are going to be sharing with you ways in which you can leverage the power of Moat QR codes. Without any further ado, I'm going to share Greg's screen live to our stream here and going to pass it over to you. Thanks, Greg.
So thanks, John. So now that we know how quickly and easily you can create these QR codes, I wanted to share some I think could be really impactful applications for how teachers might start using these QR codes in their classroom setting. So I have a few different ideas I want to share with you. I'll just get this a little bigger. Okay, so here we go. So the first idea here, it comes from an experience that I had many years ago with a colleague of mine, an English teacher, where we had students reading Night in their English class. And they created a piece of art, and the art was installed at the end of the hallway, and they wrote an artist statement in text form. You can see a lot of examples here of the art in the artist statement. It was really powerful stuff that they created, but it didn't quite convey the emotion, the thinking, the intention of the art. It's hard to convey that through only text. So I thought, what a fantastic and powerful way to kind of extend the power of art. Now, in this case, this is paper art that's on the wall, but imagine any art class, any elementary class where students are creating something, some physical document that's going to be on display. And the beauty of this as well is if you're working with the younger students, that they can sit down at the teacher's device, the teacher's laptop or desktop. The teacher can press record, the student can record their voice, and the teacher can kind of print out that QR code, download it just as John demonstrated. So this could be a really nice way to add an element to your classroom. If the students aren't creating content, don't worry about it. There could be existing elements in the classroom that they could then kind of add their voice to bring the classroom to life to kind of kick off the school year. So that's idea number 1. And we have 3 more to go. So the next idea, I took kind of a screenshot of a seminal text that might be read in a lot of high school English classes in the States, Catcher in the Rye. And I know I've worked with librarians or library media specialists over the years, and they've kind of explored or kind of experimented here and there with QR codes, but there was never really a tool built for educators, for students to quickly and easily create. So the idea here is, imagine if there are students in an English class reading this text, and multiple students might record their perspective. They might create a little book trailer or an elevator pitch on why you should read it, or their big takeaway or a lesson learned by reading this book. And those QR codes could get printed out. They could be added to the cover. They could be added to the back cover of the book. They could be added to the spine of the book, possibly, so students can even scan right when they're walking through the library. So a way to bring paper text to life with student perspective. Now, if we wanted to go even a little bit further, there's no reason why we couldn't even embed these things directly in the book itself. I remember when QR codes first started kind of emerging in the wild, I had an iPod Touch with a camera that got added to the back of it. And then there was a textbook that was published that had QR codes embedded in the textbook itself. So we could have students creating these embedded QR codes and put them right in the body of the text as a preview for a chapter or a takeaway at the end of a chapter. So many ways that we can bring books to life and have QR code book talks. All right, we're halfway there. There's idea number 2. No shot clock or timer needed for this side of it. Another one here, again, I'm thinking of like common practice in classrooms. Gallery walks are kind of a common practice, especially in the scenario where there might be one lead teacher in the classroom, 20 or so, maybe even more students spread out amongst the room, and you might have different ideas that they're exploring all over the room. How powerful would it be for the educator to create Moat QR codes ahead of time? It's almost, and I like to think of it almost as the educator duplicating themselves. So I don't have to be in corner A or B or C. I can be in corner D working with students, but I know that in A, B, and C, there's a QR code. I'm there. They can scan it. They can hear my voice, and they might have a better understanding of how they're going to participate in that kind of part of the experience or in that part of the gallery walk. So there's idea number 3. In the last idea we will explore here, again, common classroom practice, station rotations. So the elementary school or the lower grades, at least in the States, this is really common practice. I think it's even starting to emerge a bit in middle high school as well. So we have these stations students might be rotating through with a specific task, a specific challenge, maybe even unique materials that are there. So again, taking these QR codes, Moat QR codes, printing them, maybe even taping them down to the table, adding them into the kind of like task sheet at that station, it creates that connection between the teacher and the student where the student can scan that, listen to the teacher, hear exactly what the challenge is, what they're going to focus on. And as John demonstrated, we're not talking about opening up a screen recording tool, making a video, publishing the video, getting the link, putting that at the station. Like that's a lot of extra steps. The educator could walk in the morning, have a station rotation that they've been running for years, and just crank out QR codes for each station. And we're talking, even with the explanation, maybe 30 seconds to a minute per code. Print those off, cut them out, tape them down, and now you're good to go. And that's what I've been hearing more and more as I'm working with educators exploring Moat, is whether it's feedback or it's QR codes or it's instruction on a set of Google Slides, it's the students feeling like they have that connection to the teacher. And this is a huge way to make a really powerful connection with the teacher in a station rotation setting. So there, I did it. We got through.
That's awesome, Greg.
That was at a
Greg, they were super impressive ideas. I'm sure people are going to ask. I can see we've got 1 or 2 sort of comments coming through now, but are these ideas going to be shared at all? I did mention the Learning Hub. I know that you're great at putting your ideas down there.
Yeah.
So can you tell us maybe what people should expect, like how they can access these ideas?
I think what we're going to end up doing is kind of curating a whole library of Moat QR code ideas. So we have 4 shared today. We will have another 4 or 5 as we keep working through it, and we'll build out a library of all the powerful ways that you can kind of engage with QR codes, Moat QR codes in your classroom. And like John said, if you head over to the Learning Hub, we'll add an element there of Moat QR codes in the classroom, ideas to explore.
Awesome. And I'm actually just going to share one final idea. So I did jump onto my slide deck, but I'm just going to head over there now. This is actually something that came out of a call that I had with a college over here in the UK. I was speaking to their digital lead, but also to the head of English. And they explained that their position is they really enjoyed using Moat for verbal feedback when they were using Google Classroom in a particularly heavy period of digital usage over lockdown. Now they're back face-to-face. The way that the exams work over here is they're going to be written papers. So they're trying to encourage their students as much as possible when they submit their work to have them handwritten as well. So typically it might be in an exercise book or maybe in a paper-based folder. So they were really excited to use Moat, to continue that just from the time that it was saving teachers, the connection it was building, the accessibility, etc. So what I did yesterday was I quickly created a template that I will definitely share. This is a Google slide deck. I've changed the page size to actually represent, this is A4, but I've also got one for US letter size. And you can see that I've got the names of my students in the top 2 rows, and that I've duplicated this slide a number of times. So I can then just go back and I can very easily do the same thing to each slide. So let's say, for example, that I'm marking or that I'm looking at and giving feedback to my students' work. So the first student here, I'm going to just give a quick comment to Eleni. Hi, Eleni. Really impressed with this work. If you need any help before our next class, please just give me a shout. Thank you. Just like before, I can then very quickly save this QR code, drag it in. That would now be there for Eleni. Now, let's imagine that I've gone through the same process for each of my students. So I'll just do one for Greg quickly here. Hi, Greg. I can see that you've missed out question 2. It was a really tricky one. I'm going to send a video link to you that I think might help, and a couple of other resources. But if you still need a bit more input, just give me a shout. So same process again. And it'll be an ever so different QR code. And I could then go through it for each of my students. So I'm just going to drag these in for John and Sue. And then you've got here Patrick, John, Michael, and Scotty. I'm sure Greg will be pleased that Patrick and John have come first there.
Bonus points for any commenter who understands the reference.
Exactly. And then, so what I now have as a teacher is, yes, it is a Google slide deck, but I also have, because it's been formatted to the paper that I would print out from regular printer, it means that I can then print these QR codes out. I know which one belongs to each student, and I can just very quickly attach those or stick those in to on top of my student work. So this would also work in something like the art classroom if you've got student submission of portfolios. As I say, I have set this up for both A4 and US letter size. So I will be sharing those templates to the hub and be really excited to hopefully hear how you're using them and even hear how we might be able to develop them further. There we go, Greg. So that's been an action-packed pop-up PD. I think we could even argue there have been 6 ideas there, because we did demonstrate the world's fastest creation to date of an audio QR code. If you think you can beat me, good luck, but you're welcome to give it a go, but you will have to have something being timed officially. Send it in, and then we will give you a shout out on the Moat QR Speed Hall of Fame.
I love it. The Moat QR code challenge.
Yeah, the Moat QR code challenge. I do like a challenge, and I like a pun as well. So if you have any puns like, that use the letters QR, crazy, for example, then please go ahead and share them with us. But until next time, I think that might be it for our pop-up PD, Greg.
Absolutely. We did it. We appreciate everyone joining us, and we hope these ideas can bring a little bit of value into your classroom.
We absolutely do. So until next time, guys, goodbye for now.